I wanted to normalize life for my adults, especially around sex and sexuality. And so one of the things that has been coming up this week is you are just not in that phase of life. Like, you are not in that phase of life. You are in a phase of life where you have to be very intentional about what you want, because there's so many things on your schedule right now. And so if you have, and I joke with you guys, but I'm so serious. If you have 5 kids under 5, you are working a full-time job, your partner's working a full-time job, y'all are trying to start a business, which so many couples are trying to do, or and not only like trying to start a business, somebody's in school getting their advanced degree or advanced certificate, and then they're sitting in our office asking like, why aren't we having more sex? Why what? Why aren't you sleeping more? Why are you trying to do everything right now? So that's what I wanted the topic and conversation to be about today, normalizing, I think, these different phases of life. And so, and particularly to anybody who has small children and think that they're going to be having sex every day right now, I hear me. That is not the phase of life you are in. You are in a different phase of life. Yeah. Small children, and which I'm specifically saying for my couples who have children that are under the age of 5, you are not in a sex every day type of lifestyle. That's not going to work. I would like for you to lower your expectations. I would like for you to know that there are phases of life. And I digress because I realize I just jumped in hot, right? It's built up because I wanted to, when we're in roles, when I'm in a therapeutic role, I'm very listening. I'm very kind of, how do we solve your problem? I'm in it with you. So I'm not just like fussing. And now at the end of the week, after all of the people, I just want to fuss. Like, there's only 24 hours in a day. You usually got to work about 8 of them and sleep about 8 of them. And so that leaves about 8 in which, like, to do all the other things. Get back and forth to work, eat in there somewhere, spend time with your children, maybe call your mom, maybe check in on another friend or family member or do whatever the thing is. And so I want to normalize that if sex is falling off the plate, relax. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the relationship. I need you to step back and check the phase of life that you're in and understand that sex will wax and wane with your phases of life. Okay. Since I jumped in hot, deep breath. And Jessica, how are you doing today? Amanda, how you guys are doing today? So say whatever you want to say on this fabulous spring Friday and then go from there. Because I came in hot.
No, you're good. I am well. I think it's also really important to acknowledge, even if you're not in a couple, if you're dating, if you're a single parent, if you have teenagers, like the older they get, the more activities they have. You have to arrange like pick up and drop off. I have a 15-year-old. I'm a single mom. Like, one of the things that I think about, like, dating wise, is I don't want to put my kid in danger. And while I'm not saying all men, 90% of perpetrators are white men, and I am heterosexual. So like that is an issue. Yeah. So like navigating that and like figuring out what that looks like. And I know for me, I have made the decision to consciously step away from that for right now, which I want to focus on my child, and make sure that she has everything that she needs. And so sometimes we just pick that and like, it is what it is. And that doesn't mean it's bad. And that doesn't mean that you're not a whole person or still a sexual being. It just means you're prioritizing things differently right now.
All it means, like, excellent, Jessica.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'm doing good. I'm doing well on this beautiful Friday. It is so nice outside my window. And I want to piggyback with you, Jessica. Like, don't despair. I've got a preteen and a teenager myself. There are seasons of life for everything. There's a season of my life that I ran marathons. That season is over. Just like when you have small kids at home, when you have demanding careers, when you have stress, we're the sandwich generation, all of us, and that we're all sandwiched, right?
Right.
We may have kids at home. We may have nephews or nieces we care for, and we have parents and aunts and uncles we're taking care of. So, and then you throw in the mix, I think you mentioned it, not only our high achieving dual income folks, like they are pulled in so many directions that, whew, it's a season. And that's how I try to look at it with my clients, that this is a hard season. And seasons change. Like that is one thing that we know. We are all in Georgia. It is hot as heck for like 6 months out of the year. But I know every August when it's the dog days, it will get better by October. And this no season remains unchanged. So we just have to, you got to stick with it and figure out what you like about your partner or partners to get you through.
I feel like that is the message out of all of my fussing. I think that's the message I want people to walk away with today is there are seasons to your life. There are going to be seasons to your sex life. And I'd love for couples to think, families, however your relationship looks, your romantic relationships look, to talk about the seasons that we're in and the seasons that we're going in, and how does that going to affect us? How will that affect not only our physical intimacy, but our emotional intimacy?
Amen.
You know, how will that affect literally how often we're going to see each other? And then the practical things about like, okay, so who's going to buy the groceries? And so all of these very practically, you may be in a season of life. Hats off to people with teenagers that are like in those travel sports.
Yes.
they are like traveling at like 6 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday mornings. Like you guys are doing it. And so that might be a fast food season. We're in a season of like just getting it on the road. Like that's all we can do. And then you may, at a different point in your life, be a season of, we're going to cook and be healthy and eat at home because we're at home. And so I want to normalize the need for change for different seasons, the need for families, relationships to sit down and acknowledge, hey, we're in a different season, or we're getting ready to roll into a different season. What is that going to mean for us? How do we support each other in this season? What's the number one thing that you're going to need from me? And there's so many different seasons of life. And so, Amanda, you just talked about, a season of like high health training for marathons, which I know when you guys do your long runs, it's like 5-6 hours, right?
Sometimes, yeah.
And then
that's how I feel now. I feel the same way.
Sorry. I have an outdoor face and not an indoor face, and I struggle with that sometimes.
It was just like, nobody know how when I run for 6 hours.
Absolutely not. I've come to terms with the death that I will have in the zombie apocalypse because I'm not running anywhere. So,
seasons. And so seasons with your body. There are going to be seasons with your body where you are high health and low health, or high energy and low energy, and be open to the change of the seasons. And I don't know if we're not talking about that enough to our pre-married, our premarital, or in society in general, because it's like people are just like, no, my life should be perfect as the way it was like 5 years ago. And it's just like, no, it doesn't work like that. Do you see that your life is completely different? How do you not see this? And so we have to change expectations for different seasons. That's my thing. Okay. Who else?
Yeah, go ahead, Jessica. No, go ahead.
No, I think it's one of those things that I think in this moment, like whatever season you're in, it's looking for the opportunities and being really flexible, because I know sometimes things pop up My kid goes somewhere for the weekend with friends, and I'm like, oh, I have time. Like, I wasn't planning on this time. So then it's trying to figure out, well, what can I do with this time? Now, often that is not the focus, but sometimes it is. And so it's like, oh, okay, well, now we've got to pivot because we've got this time that we didn't expect. So if kids are going to bed early and you got a nap that day, and so maybe you're feeling a little friskier towards the end of the day versus just exhausted and touched out. So being understanding of what that looks like, also understanding that you are most likely not going to be able to give to another person if you are incredibly depleted.
Yeah.
And that is for anything. And so what we need to focus on first is, what do I need? How do I need to fill my cup?
Yeah.
And then how can I connect with my partner? Because connecting with your partner is probably going to end up in a conflict if you're depleted and irritable and pissy and just like picking fights.
Yes. I want that to be a part of the conversation of, hey, we're heading into a new season. And so I have learned the hard way to get gas like on Sundays for the week. Because I always used to, for a season in my life, I would wind up needing to get gas on the day that it was cold and raining and I was running late.
Always. Yeah.
And so eventually I was like, you've got to stop. Like, I come to Jesus meeting with myself. You cannot live like this anymore, you know? And so I started getting gas on Sundays for the week so that didn't happen to me anymore. I want couples to do that for themselves, emotionally, physically, sexually, energetically, so that you're having that conversation before, okay, this is what I'm going to need in the season. This is how I want us to fill up the tanks. And when we fill up the tanks for the week ahead, for the month ahead, for this season, it's going to look like this. Okay. When I was in grad school, did my graduate program, year 2008, my schedule was so tight. Like it was tight. Like if I didn't go to the grocery store at the right time, I just had to starve the rest of the week. Like it was so tight. And so there are going to be seasons like that where you have to figure out exactly what you need, when you need it. And it just has to be that tight. And that's okay. Like because it's, again, only for a season. And I will say, I do hate that some seasons last longer than others. And so like I just had an aunt who's been caregiving for a season and that's coming to an end. And so it has lasted a lot longer, I think, than we thought it would for her. And so I do get that some seasons last longer than others. And yet I still want you to hold on to that this is for a season.
Yeah.
And so, because I think people can get disheartened when, you know, it's a particularly hard season and it just doesn't seem like it's coming to an end. And so that, again, in these seasons, get the support you need so that you can make it through well. Okay, what else is coming up for you? I think just and Amanda, I jumped in again. So
no, Natalie, what I'm hearing you say is an ounce of prevention can be worth a pound of cure, right? Isn't that how it goes?
Yeah.
And what I've noticed, I've been married for 2 decades, is that often these seasons can kind of like ebb and flow differently for each partner. And so I think that communication is so key. That's the prevention, right? The communication about these seasons. And also I think it requires every partner in the relationship to ebb and flow and complement the other. So there are going to be seasons where, you know, one person is picking up more of the mental load. There are going to be seasons where that happens. There's going to be seasons of illness where somebody might have more of the physical load. But that's why communication is so key. And to just plug what we do a little bit in this conversation, the conversations can be so hard to have. The communication can be so hard because we don't always have these skills, but it's something that we can help with because this is so common for folks. Anybody who's watching, I'm sure you've experienced this in one way or another in your relationships. And don't beat yourself up for not knowing how to talk about it. Because when it's really hard, that's the worst time to learn those skills. So prevention is key, like the prevention versus the cure, and trying to work on the front end to complement one another in this season. Because if you're at odds, like it's just going to get worse. But if you can try to complement one another, it can be a little smoother.
Yeah, go over Jessica Renard.
Yeah, I have to play devil's advocate because there are going to be people out there that are listening that are like, that is not a reality in my world. And I'm thinking of my neurodiverse clients that didn't figure out that they were neurodiverse until they had children that started to have struggles.
Yes.
And the strain got to be too much and they're not able to mask in the way that they're still able, they previously were able to mask. And so now it's my kid needs issues and I have issues and we're relating differently and the whole playing field has changed. That's okay.
Yeah.
To just pause. Like it is okay at any point to just like, we need a break. One thing can't be on fire. Like we need something to not be on fire and learning as you go. Like a lot of people, I mean, I know even though I took 24 hours of parenting class, read books, I adopted my kid. So I was planning for that. And some of that was required. You are not prepared. No one is prepared. There is no amount of preparation that you can study for that you're like, yep, I got it. There, it doesn't exist. You are building the plane while you're flying it. And there are going to be some errors there. So like, prepare for that.
Definitely so. And so picking back off of that, preparing for that means to me, readjusting your expectation. Like, I'd like you to say, hey, we don't know what this space of parenting is going to be. We just don't know. And so we're going to have to make a lot of adjustments on the way. And so I think one of you guys already said flexibility. And so I want to say flexibility again. Maybe that's the title of today. Be flexible. And have those conversations. And it's okay to start a conversation saying, I don't know how to talk about this.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to say the words right, but please know that I'm saying it to help us, not hurt us, and like start from a nice place. And if you really feel like you don't even know how to start, then come in and do a counseling session. You don't have to be sexless for 20 years before you decide you need a sex therapist. I would put it at the 3-month mark. That you've realized, wait a minute, we're not getting back to it. And it feels like it's hard for us. I think as therapists, that's kind of like the ideal. Like we can like gently correct as opposed to full stop. We got to redo this engine, then put it back on the track, then get you guys going in the right direction. All right. For you guys, when do y'all think a couple should come in? Wait, I want to say something real quick. Do not come in if you have a brand new baby that's less than 6 months old. Don't be in there.
Well, don't come in if it's just because you're not having sex enough. There may be other reasons you might want to come in. But I agree with you, Natalie. Like we don't have to, it doesn't have to be 20 years. It doesn't have to be 5 years. But I would say that if more often than not, you feel like you can't find the words to say or have the conversation about what's going on, I'd say if it's even 45 to 50% of the time you're feeling that way, come in. Like we can, there's so many, especially when it comes to communication and sex for a lot of couples. Sometimes it's just like very small micro changes that pay off so big. I can share when I was first a mom, I was at home most of the time and my spouse was working very long hours. He had no idea what I went through all day, every day, because we had a newborn who had high needs. And he had no idea. And I didn't know how to talk about it. So for 2 years, I was just like, he doesn't care. This baby is crazy and a baby, and I'm last. But if I had had the words to say it, I think we could have put a stop to the miscommunication much, much sooner. And there would have been less hurt feelings all around. So we can help with those micro changes. Like, don't we?
We can. I do love those moments in therapy. I feel like I haven't had them in a minute, but where we know the words and we put them in and then like check in with the partner. Like, is that what you were trying to say? Yes. And it really feels good as a therapist to finally be able to add some words to what they've been feeling for so long, or normalizing what you've been feeling on both sides. And so it it feels very complicated. Like I want clients to know, potential client, all the people of the world. I want you to know that it can feel very complicated and it won't be in a professional's hands. And so I know it feels overwhelmingly complicated to you. And there are some cases that it's just like, oh, if you just start doing this, this, and that, how does that shift it for you? And it's completely different. I mean, not every case is like that, but there's definitely some cases where we're just tweaking how you start the conversation, tweaking or allowing you to have the conversation, because as much as couples talk in the beginning, there's still a lot of conversations that never get had. It's the oddest thing that you can talk to somebody for 3 to 5 hours when you first start dating for someone nice on end. And then 3-4 years into marriage, we realize this never got talked about.
Yeah.
It just never got talked about. And things that happen sexually and expectations are those things that never get talked about. Also, I would like to say the dating relationship is different from the marital relationship completely. Please stop comparing your marital relationship of 10 years to your dating relationships that did not last past 6 months. Please stop. And
dating at 20 is going to look very different than dating at 40 or 50.
Yes.
Please understand that. Can we do like a whole book on that? because not only do I find that people are struggling with the differences in dating, but they're also struggling with the differences in how the relationship works. Yeah. And so I'll have a couple that gets married at 40 and will say something like, but we're newlyweds. We're supposed to be having sex every day. No. That's no. Like, you're thinking of the traditional story where y'all get married at 20 and y'all really don't have any pre-sexual experience. And so now y'all free to have sex. And so now y'all are in love with sex and you have great bodies and you have a lot of energy and you're able to have sex all the time. At 40, that's not the case.
Nope.
Even if at 40, you want to have sex all the time, you still got to go to work. You still got responsibilities. You still got bills to be paid. Like you can't just disappear from your life. Like in college, I could stay in bed all day long.
Yeah.
My life doesn't work like that right now. Like even if I took off from work, there's still like things that have to be done. There's not I can lay in bed and disappear from the world. And so understanding the phase of life is very different. Relationships that starts at 40 is going to be very different, have very different phases than a relationship that started at 20.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why I feel so funny.
Yeah. You're good.
I just want to fuss at the world. Y'all can like, get it. Like, I understand. You're normal. This is life. Okay, I digress. Go, Jessica.
You're good. I think in the answer to the question that you were like, when should people come in? If during the day, one day, you are thinking about it more than an hour of trying to solve the problem.
Ooh, good.
Because I would rate it in the amount of distress that it's causing. Because like, if my sex life is going well, I probably don't think about sex very often.
Right.
It's something that happens. Mm-hmm. It's something that logistics are planned and then it's executed and then there's not a whole lot of thought to it. But when I start ruminating and like coming back to it and like spinning it around and around and like trying to figure it out or like what's going wrong, what do we need to do differently? That's when I would check in with a professional because like,
I'm gonna give you the numbers for that. Dr. Kevin Leman, he, in one of his books, he says, when sex is working well, it's only 10% of the relationship. But when the sex is broken or not working well, it will feel like 90% of the relationship. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think that's because it can hit so deeply, intimately, like in your kind of most vulnerable place, and a lot of feelings get hurt. It's so interesting that people are so vulnerable, like in the marriage. Like they're so, like how many times do we hear our clients say, I'm scared to get rejected by the person that they've been married to for years. Like it's a really common thing. I'm scared to be rejected. I don't want to keep getting rejected. So yeah. Okay. Amanda, what would you like to, when do you think people should come in?
I think it's if they're feeling out of sorts for more than like half the time, like with communication and sex. But I think that something I want to make sure we talk about today is that I talk with my clients a lot about scheduling intimacy, and we haven't talked about it now.
Yeah, right.
So many folks find it, they say it's not sexy or it's not spontaneous. You are not in a spontaneous time of your life right now.
You're not.
That's what I've been talking about for the last 25 minutes. And here's the analogy I give to people. If you go to the gym every single day or once a week for 2 years and then you stop going, you're going to miss it. So, and you're going to feel out of sorts. So if you can schedule intimacy, and that doesn't always mean sex, it just means intimate time for just the two of you. If you can schedule that every week for an hour or 2 hours after the kids go to bed, and you are consistent, after a month or two, if you miss that time in that week, you're going to miss it. And you're going to realize how important it was for you. Yeah. So I want people to leave behind the idea, people watching our clients, leave behind the idea that sex always has to be spontaneous. It always has to be like we see on TV, ripping your clothes off in the foyer, before you even get to the bedroom. This is not the season of life that you're in. Once you are, out of school, working, older, getting, through our 20s, 30s, and 40s, we are not in a spontaneous season. Because if we rip our clothes off in the foyer, one of our 15-year-olds is going to walk between me and Jessica. One of our 15-year-olds are going to walk in and discover us. But I don't want you guys to be afraid of scheduling intimacy. We schedule doctor's appointments. We schedule time to go to the gym. I schedule meditation time on the weekends, like 20 minutes here and there, so I can get it in. Why not sex? Why not intimacy? Yeah. Why not time to have a conversation, especially when you've got small kids at home? Just time to talk. Like, put it on your calendar. I promise it's not unsexy. I think it's really sexy to do it because it means it's important to you. So yeah, I want to dispel that and make sure we talk about that before we finish.
Thank you so much. Because I walked down the hall thinking like, I got to talk about protected time. So protected time is a word that I got from a supervisee. And I was like that. Yeah. I love that. I'm going to take that. So Megan Navarez out of, I think she's in Philadelphia. I took that term from her, protected time, and she may have got it from somewhere else, but I know I took it out of her mouth. We schedule the things that are important to us.
Yes.
And so if during every season of your life, you want intimacy to be important and a priority, then schedule it. Just schedule it. When I was in college, I didn't schedule going to the gym. We just went up and went.
Did it. Yeah.
Just did it. It was an exercise getting to the gym in college. Everything we had to walk. But nevertheless, if it doesn't get scheduled now in my adult time, it doesn't happen. And so just understanding that you are in a different season. This is a season that you're in. It's okay. And this too shall pass. Like this too shall pass. All right. Okay. Last final thoughts.
If it's not a problem for either of you, it's actually not a problem.
There we go. Excellent final thought.
I love that.
I love that. Okay. Yeah. All right. Amanda, did you have a last thought?
No, I was just going to say, like, yes to that in every area of your life. But I think so often we compare ourselves to what other couples say they're doing. And I didn't notice I said what they say they are doing. Do not go to wine night with your girlfriends and believe that every single one of them is having mind-blowing sex 4 times a week with multiple orgasms. Even if that's what they're saying, that's probably not happening. Don't believe what everybody else is saying. If it is not a problem, don't legislate a non-problem. I came from government in my first part of my career. Do not legislate a non-problem. Do not make a problem when there isn't one.
Yes. I got to say how many couples that I've seen that if I saw them on the street, I think they're having a great sex life. And then they're in my office saying, we haven't touched each other in years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, okay. All right, people. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, ladies, for joining me. This is a great cover. Yes.
Bye, y'all.
Easter. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.